So are you busy in the cold weather still?
It's hard to get to places like we got halfway to Haywood County today and had to turn around.
Yeah, starting to get really bad.
Yeah. It's hard.
Well, we haven't done anything yet. As you know, we go really slow. So
I think
we'll
I'll
be
use
in
my
touch
time.
someday.
Okay.
County's time.
Some year.
There's other,
It's only been a couple of
priorities.
years. Yeah, well, financially, it's kind of hard to do it all at once. But.
I was just thinking, if you look on the
Ready to go.
clock up there, I said, I think I'll use my time rather than the county's time to start this morning. Well, good morning and welcome. You're at the Board of Adjustment of Buncombe County. My name is Jim Lesko. I'll be your chairperson this morning, and I'd like to ask the members to introduce themselves, starting with George.
George Lycan, South Asheville.
Jim Guido, Beaver Dam Community.
Peggy Mann, Limestone.
John Yerko, North Buncombe and Weaverville.
David Hall, Beaver Dam.
Lori Camerata, Beaver Dam.
Lisa Stevens, South Asheville.
All right. You all received a copy of the December 8th minutes. Are there any corrections to those minutes?
I just handed out a new copy because I found two typos.
Amended.
They're in red. One's on page 5. It's just, I changed the other there. And on page 7, I fixed Lori's name. So those are the only two changes I made.
All right. Those will be fine, I'm sure.
It's page 5.
Any other corrections? Hearing no corrections, the minutes shall stand as submitted.
Oh, spelling.
All right, if you're going to testify today, you'll have to be sworn in. So if you're going to talk, please come forward. One member, put your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, or you can touch one of the other people coming up. We'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Okay.
John Medlin of the Samet Corporation has applied in the name of Nipro Healthcare to revise a conditional use permit for a plan unit development pursuant to Section 78-677 and 78-678-9 of the zoning ordinance of Buncombe County on tax lot pin 9634447464, located at 100 Vista Boulevard. They received a conditional use permit back in September of last year for this addition to an existing industrial plant. They require the conditional use permit because it's over a 35,000 square foot addition. It's 42,000 square feet. They have their stormwater and erosion control permits, and the fire marshal has approved the plan as well. They have made several changes to that approved plan, and I have highlighted them on the submitted plans for you so we can see what the changes are from the plan that was approved back in September. One thing I do want to point out is that they show a 20-foot vegetative buffer on the south side, but measured by a scale, it's only about 17 feet to their retaining wall. So we'll need to clarify, is that required 20-foot buffer?
And the approving bodies, have they all seen their revised?
Yes,
Okay.
they have seen the revised plans.
Yeah, I don't
Okay, so everything's up to date to this moment.
That's correct.
I've been oriented on these things anyway.
All right. Mr. Petitioners, please tell us what you'd like to change, and with the emphasis on the changes, since this has already been approved once, that will save our time and yours.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Alan Hill. I'm with Triad Design Group in Greensboro, North Carolina. I am the engineer of record on this project. We are also, my firm is also the architects of record. Just wanted to just briefly go over the changes. As was mentioned earlier, we did receive approval from this board back in September for our site plan. Due to some modifications that we had to make on the site and some adjustments that we had to make, we did resubmit these changes to the board for review and approval. Just basically, if you folks don't mind, I'd like to stand up and
Please.
go over
Good.
to the drawing, and hopefully I'm going to touch on everything you have highlighted there. If I miss something, please let me know. But
Can you bring the microphone with you, please?
sure. Okay, I am going to start with the silo relocation. One of the items, originally we have a couple of silos that store material for the plant's operation. We originally had those silos located around on the back side. Right in this location and this location, which is, of course, closer to the residential here. But we've relocated those silos more to the front portion of the building. Actually, pulled them further away from the residential. They're still screened in part by the building itself from the Vista Boulevard here. So that was one change that we made. Another change in an attempt to provide more parking for the additional employees that are going to be brought in to man the operations in this expansion. We added 2 new parking areas that were not shown on the original plan. Back behind the building here where we originally had a couple of the silos, we are proposing 7 parking spaces right along the building off of the drive that comes around behind the building. And then up in this front area, we are proposing to place 13 additional parking spaces. Yeah. And I guess to go along with that, we did increase the built-upon area here, but then one of the changes that we made in our loading dock area here in the back was we reduced the pavement and reduced the size of that loading dock area in the back. The last change that I have here is we did increase the square footage of the building slightly in this dock area right here. It amounts to about 1,200 square feet additional in the building in this dock area. Yeah, it was already, I think we originally had it shown as pavement for the dock area, right. So we just swapped impervious for impervious. And the final thing I do want to bring up that's not shown on your plan, and I apologize for our oversight, was in the last meeting, one of our conditions was to provide some sort of a barrier along the top of the retaining wall. We are going to place a 3-foot-high chain link fence, and it is shown on my drawing here, but once again, I apologize. It was not on the plan that was submitted to you folks for review, but we are planning on putting a 3-foot-high chain link fence all along the top of that retaining wall. Just one comment as far as the 20-foot buffer. If you measure from the back of curb to the property line, it is right at or slightly more than 20 feet. Our retaining wall does fall within that buffer, but we ask that be allowed to stay as we have it drawn. It was actually shown that way in on the September plan. So, I think that covers everything. Was there other changes shown on your plan that I did not cover?
Just to refresh our memory, we've got Brevard Road running this way. You've got Long Shoals, and that traffic light is up at the there. Yes,
that's
the
correct.
sensitivity area is to the south. Is that correct? Right, and the residential area of sensitivity was
that's
there,
correct.
and to the perhaps to the west, I guess, of the property.
Well, west of here, all of this area is part of the industrial park.
Okay,
So,
okay, just the south part was the
southern
area
part.
of sensitivity. Okay,
exactly. Yes, sir. One other thing I do want to mention, it was mentioned earlier that we have our stormwater permits, we have our erosion sedimentation control permits. We also have all of our permits from NCDOT as far as driveway and those permits are concerned.
So therefore, the retaining wall itself is going to be the exact same spot as the plan previously showed. It's just going to have a, what did you say, how high the fence on top?
3 foot tall.
3 foot?
And that's,
Yes,
that's
sir.
just a safety precaution that if residential areas wander back and gets close to the top of that wall, that they won't fall off.
Okay.
Right.
Sir, what's your name for the record?
Bill Wooten with Salmon Corporation.
Other questions or comments? That retaining wall, roughly how tall is that?
The highest point are around 12 feet.
12 feet. Of course, it tapers down
Yeah.
in either direction, but 12 is the highest point.
Any other questions or comments? Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to speak for or against this project?
I have a question about sound buffering.
Ma'am,
We'll have to,
what's,
My name is Donna, no.
and I don't think she was
we'll have to
sworn
swear
in.
you in.
Okay, never mind then.
No,
Oh, we want,
yeah.
yeah, there's nothing to that. If you, we'd like to hear your comment.
Are these,
Come
Mr.
in,
Chairman?
we'll swear you in, you can comment.
That's good.
Mr. Chairman, I guess the first question is whether or not they've concluded their presentation.
Yes.
Oh,
And I have my usual question for these guys, and then I guess the floor
okay,
certainly
I
would be
thought he
open.
said he was finished, but then our question is okay.
I just wanted to ask any of these gentlemen who's testifying regarding the application for this conditional use permit. I don't know if one of you, let me just walk up to you guys so you can see this. I have no idea whose signature that could possibly be. But
That is a deal signed by John Medlin,
Okay.
who is with Samet Corporation. We prepared the document.
Okay, so you've reviewed this and you're familiar with the content of the application. All the information is true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
All right, please come forward, and we'll swear you in. Put your hand on the Bible, please. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Right. Why don't you come up here to where the microphones are so we can hear what you're saying?
When it goes, well, I don't know what your question is. One question I had was at the last
Ma'am, what's your
meeting.
name?
Diane Wysocki,
Can you spell your last name? for me?
Wysocki. I know they had said that it was supposed to be restricted, the trucks going back and forth along the southern, towards Clovernook. It's supposed to be only on emergency basis, and I was wondering if that still is the case, or is that changed?
Could you?
I can
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, you can
Yes,
answer.
all the truck traffic will be moving in and out of the facility. This is only for emergency and for the employee.
Okay.
Truck will be leaving this dock and going back out
Okay.
this
So
way.
there's not going to be rambling traffic there all the time?
They'll be pulling up to about right here to be able to back in to these docks here, but everything will be coming in and out on this.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have my September notes here, but I believe one of the things that we had attempted to establish was a communication link with people in the community and the site. However that was, has anything like that occurred? Because these kind of questions would come up, and it would be nice if there could be a response, a question-response chain.
It had not been
Could you-
presented since I think that question had come up in September. We communicated then that it was all coming in and out.
Do you have a phone number that
You
they
speak in
can
the
actually get to
microphone?
someone?
Can
Yes.
anyone who's speaking, I know we're being picky, but we need to get you on video. If you would speak on into the microphone or pick up a microphone if you are speaking.
Well,
I'm Ken Fry from NIPRO, and Diane and I have met, so they have my phone number and happy to answer any questions that they may have.
Great.
One last question that I have is the trees that will be going alongside my property closer to the road, you know, where it kind of curves a little to the north, you know, in that area. I do have, you know, I know it's the property belongs to NIPRO, but I do have a deed that has an easement, and I think I've spoken to Mr. Green as well about Hill, I'm sorry, about that. And I'm just curious as to where the trees will end up. You know, maybe I don't have any right to decide whether or not trees are in that area, but I have spoken to several people already who said they would get back to me. I haven't heard anything yet. And that's, I guess, my last concern is that an area that a small area along that area that we are currently using to go through with vehicles that my deed had said I could use, it appears as though there might be rows of trees in that area. And I don't know if this is the place for that issue or not.
You can, certainly you can ask the question, one of you gentlemen enlighten us, or what you're going to plant there? Right there.
As the plan's drawn now, we are showing a double row of evergreens, which was a requirement for the buffer, and it does extend along that property line. And we are showing it right now over the drive that Ms. Wasaki has mentioned. Once again, the drive that she's mentioned is on NIPRO's property, and as of right now, that is how we have the plan drawn.
So the drive will disappear then?
Based on the way it's drawn, yes.
So how can, I guess my question is, how would I find out what that, you know, it says on my deed, how do I find out what that means? You know what I mean? What?
No, I don't think
know,
I can answer
if
that
it has
question.
an easement. Yeah.
That's not good, but they've explained, you know, that that's on their property and they're going to plant trees there. But I think that's another venue if you have a question of your deed right.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think if she has that on her deed, that she can use it.
Ma'am, I need you to state your name.
I'm sorry, I thought I did. It's Donna Cannone, Cannone.
Okay.
If that's on her deed and they're going to plant trees, then she will not be able to use that. So is there a way to push the tree line back so that she can still use that?
That's a question we can't answer here. That's something that she will have to go to, I guess, an attorney or something like that. But that's-
Okay.
We
Well,
can't
what's,
answer that.
what is the issue? Are you using some, it's a right-of-way that's...
Well, we have a driveway, but we use that, you know, since we moved there, we were told, oh, well, you can use this. You've got an easement for, oh, I'm sorry. We were told when we purchased it that you can use this, it sort of makes it a circular drive, that you can use this area as well. You know, the attorney, when I purchased the land, said that he got me an easement to be able to use that stretch.
Is that easement depicted on your survey?
I'm not sure. I have it on the deed, but I don't have, I mean, I have a plan that was drawn up that refers to it, but
Is the text?
it doesn't say
Okay.
within it. I don't
No.
see where it says easement, but I haven't been to and I called the attorney who did the closing, and of course, it's 10 years and they've destroyed their records. So he doesn't have a copy of what made him acknowledge that there was an easement. But I'm assuming, you know, he had to have gotten it from somewhere.
But I'm sorry, but that's a problem we can't handle.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
beyond our expertise and our authority here to.
So you can't say they're asking for permission and showing you a sign that they're going to put trees in this
Right.
easement, and you can't say they have to back it up.
No. because they are meeting the requirements of the law as we understand it here, and they've met all the conditions that this board demands of them.
Well, staff reviews this survey that's on file, and they,
Well, if there's an easement, it would be enforced through the courts. It would be, you'd need to get an attorney to establish whether there actually was an easement or not.
Okay.
Right.
From micro standpoint, we know of no easement. We've not granted any formal permission.
Well, I think we from our viewpoint, this board's viewpoint, we've answered your question,
Okay.
and now you have to take another step if that's your desire.
Well, I think, no.
Right.
Okay, and you had another question.
Well, it was just about saying chain link fence, yes, I would be rather.
Well, you tell her, I don't know.
Okay. I was just concerned about noise to the property adjoining. If a chain link fence is not as noise reducing as some other choices of fencing. And it's also more unsightly. So I wanted to know if there is a different choice that we could ask for to be put up on top of that.
Does the fence meet the requirements of the code?
That was a condition that the board itself set. It's not a requirement of the ordinance.
it was a safety requirement.
Right.
Safety requirement. Probably considering the strength and the durability, that's pretty much a have-to case, I would think, rather than some other choice.
Anything less continuous than the fence would defeat the purpose for the safety.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was just something more attractive, I guess, but mostly for sound reduction.
Well, as one of these gentlemen said, there's a 12-foot drop in one place along
Right.
there, so.
Oh, no, to put up a different type
You
of
want a
fence,
different
not
type.
to remove the fence, just a different type that would hold back the noise a little bit because it's right next to their home. I'm sorry.
You're asking for a board fence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that would, it's
As
more
opposed to
geared
the-
toward noise reduction and a little more
Aesthetic.
sightly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and chain link.
What's that?
I'm sure you can.
But thinking of durability,
Might bring something up.
Can be made, it can be, yeah, more solid fence can be made to resist the code required lateral forces.
Micro people, how do you feel about that? Putting up a more scenic or
Aesthetic.
aesthetic type of fence?
I don't know that I have an opinion one way or the other. I think, based on what we have today and what they will have to look at when the project is completed,
Sir,
drastic improvement.
you're talking to the microphone.
Say, I'm not sure I have an opinion one way or the other, but I think when the project is completed, aesthetically, it'll be greatly improved over what it is today. Again, the wall is 12 feet tall, and they'll basically look at the side of the building with a tree-planted buffer, so.
Will the trees be in front of the fence as well? Will it be buffered there?
The 2 rows of trees will actually be between the property line and the retaining wall, so the trees will actually be shielding a good portion of the view of the chain link fence. And the other point is the grade actually is sloping down to the top of that retaining wall, so the height of that fence, the top of the fence actually may be about the same elevation as the property line, because there is some slope from the property line coming down to the top of that fence, or to the retaining wall, and then you got the fence. So the fence, standing at the property line, you almost be looking well over the top of the chain link fence.
So the trees are where in terms of the gravel drive? In front of it? Okay. They line it?
This whole shaded area.
Okay.
So the fence is essentially hidden, you're saying?
So the trees will form more of a sound buffer. than
For
obviously
the residential
Yeah.
side, yeah, from the plant side, they'll be looking at the fence before they'll see the trees.
I know. How close together are the trees going to be? Do you know?
I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly. They're either 6 feet apart or 8 feet apart, and they're staggered. So you have, essentially, you're forming a pretty solid barrier of trees. Yeah.
They're evergreens?
They are evergreens, yes.
My last question was, because I was not here for any other meeting, was about sewage. Where is, for the addition, where is that going to be routed?
We're tied into the existing system.
be toward
It'll
the
be
front.
routed around the east side of the building and tying in along the east side of the building to the existing system.
So you're only adding 20 extra parking spaces for over 40,000 square feet?
Our change from the previous plan is 20 additional.
Okay.
We are adding parking along the east side here, but that was approved on the previous plan, yes.
But the 7 that you're adding would be closer to the property line south?
We have 7 here
Okay.
versus a couple of silos that we moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And once again, those are just employee parking.
Okay, thank you.
And can you show me where that, the safety fence goes up to? Yeah.
It would be from this dark black line. From the dark black line where the retaining wall starts to the end of the retaining wall.
Which is almost to the end of the building.
Yes.
All right, any further questions, comments? Hearing none, I shall close the public hearing at this time. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the filing as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we need a finding of fact?
I think so.
I'd add to your,
I think that we need the abbreviated finding of fact. Is that correct, Mr. Frew?
Yeah, that's your choice.
Okay.
It's probably easier. You have it up there?
Yes, I do. Okay, we have a motion to adopt finding of fact. Mr. Chair, based upon the evidence presented to this board, including the following exhibits: the petitioner's application, the submitted development plans, the GIS maps, the finding of fact worksheets, and other documents and discussions as presented, I move that this board adopt the following findings of fact: 1 through 5 as published. 6A, this application does meet the requirement for granting a conditional use permit for a PUD for the following reasons: A through,
Okay. No. Oh.
it's
Oh, it still goes further. P.
A through V on
Wow.
page 7.
No. Yeah.
Is submitted.
all right?
And on the front page of that document, it showed applicants, the reasons for approval of the conditional use permit. Did you want to make those as part?
Yes, I'll place those in the public record. The applicant's reasons are a 20-foot wide landscape buffer consisting of existing vegetation supplemented with a double row of evergreen trees will be provided along the southern property line to screen adjoining residential uses. The lot size and proposed building setbacks comply with the zoning ordinance requirements for the employment district zoning. The proposed addition is to an existing plant. Any buffers disturbed will be replaced to meet all ordinance requirements.
Okay, and just to make this patently clear, these are in addition to the prior permit that was granted.
It's a revision to
Yeah,
the
the
prior.
revisions. All right, I call for the question. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. You can proceed. Thank you very much. Okay. Is there any other business before us this morning? A comment? Okay, at this time, I will close the meeting.
Hopefully it's still raining, not snowing.
It's 40 degrees.
That's beautiful out there.
It's not big enough. Since I see the big one, there's the new Speaker of the House. It's like I would be embarrassed to use such a small instrument.
That's exciting.
Jillian, is this our homework?
Oh, yeah. You'll be okay. I'm sure the bus